When Volkswagen revealed the third-generation Tiguan last year, it was hard not to notice one conspicuous omission. There was no high-performance Tiguan R among the new lineup. Enthusiasts who had grown accustomed to seeing a hopped-up version of VW's popular compact crossover found themselves asking where the pocket rocket had gone. As it turns out, though, the idea of resurrecting the Tiguan R isn't dead in Wolfsburg. Far from it. In a recent interview with Australia's car expert website, Pedro Martinez-Diaz, the head of sales and marketing for VWR, hinted that there may yet be a future for a street-legitimate Tiguan hot rod. His exact words were delightfully non-committal. "I would never say no. The Tiguan R was very successful in Europe and Australia. We'll see." That short, tantalizing response doesn't amount to an official green light, but it certainly leaves the door ajar. The absence of the Tiguan R in the third generation. Anyone familiar with Volkswagen's product cadence knows that the R badge has long signified the pinnacle of performance within VW's roster across slow-selling corners of Europe, Latin America, and even Australia. The Tiguan R, first introduced as a mid-cycle facelift to the second generation, quickly carved out a loyal following thanks to its punchy engine, razor-sharp chassis tweaks, and unmistakable visual cues. When the third-generation Tiguan arrived, however, it hit the market devoid of the R variant, leaving hardcore fans wondering what had happened to their favorite AWD compact crossover with extra oomph. Without an immediate successor, it appears that Volkswagen opted to hold off on releasing a performance version until later in the model's life cycle, perhaps to focus initial resources on rolling out the new architecture, digital cockpits, and electrified powertrains that define the rest of the third-generation Tiguan range. Yet, Volkswagen still has a sizable runway to bring the Tiguan R back before the current generation's life cycle ends, thanks largely to its broader shift toward electrification. By the end of the decade, the VWR sub-brand is expected to transition into an EV-only bastion of high-performance models, a move that aligns with VW's overall aggressive push into electric vehicles. As the GTI family, including the Golf GTI and Polo GTI, is readied for partial or full electrification over the next few years, the R division needs to retool itself for the future. That transitionary period could provide the perfect window for Volkswagen to reintroduce a new Tiguan R, possibly even as a hybrid or full electric model, before the entire stable makes the switch. A look back at the second-generation Tiguan R. To understand what a third-generation Tiguan R might look like, it helps to revisit the model that first wore the badge. In 2020, Volkswagen debuted the Tiguan R alongside a facelift second-generation Tiguan. Under the sculpted hood sat a turbocharged 2.0-liter EA888 four-cylinder engine, borrowed from the Golf R and the Arteon R, that delivered 316 horsepower, 320 PS, and 310 pound-feet, 420 Newton-meters of torque. In an era when sub-5 seconds 0 to 62 miles per hour times were predominantly reserved for heavy luxury sedans and supercars, the Tiguan RS 4.9-second sprint was surprising coming from a compact, relatively lightweight crossover. Top speed was electronically limited to 155 miles per hour, 250 kilometers per hour, in keeping with the tradition of Volkswagen's performance-capped models. Of course, the Tiguan R offered more than just raw engine output. Volkswagen engineers lowered its ride height relative to the standard Tiguan, installing stiffer springs, revised dampers, and thicker anti-roll bars to sharpen turn-in and reduce body roll. Braking duties fell to larger, more robust discs and calipers, ensuring the 4Motion all-wheel drive system could be exploited trackside or on twisty back roads without fearing fade. VW's 4Motion system, complete with torque vectoring, dynamically distributed power between the front and rear axles, and even side to side, depending on traction demands, enabling the Tiguan R to flick through corners with untypical agility for something of its size. Until Volkswagen issues a formal statement or teases a concept at one of the major auto shows,